In the hours before the Pope landed, Senate Democrats killed a ban on late-term abortions, something the Catholic Church isn't exactly in favor of. Have you been paying any attention at all in Sunday school? Joining me now, Republican presidential candidate, Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, thank you very much for being with us tonight. So let's start with that. Do you think there's a reason why the media is trying to draw this as some sort of a rift between the Republicans running for office, all of them, and the Holy Father?
Oh, of course there is. You know, it's great to be with you, Megan. Look, the mainstream media, they are not fair and impartial observers. They are partisans. They are Obama's #1 protectors, and they're rooting for Hillary. And Pope Francis has been an incredible voice for life. He's been an incredible voice for marriage. He's been an incredible voice for religious liberty. And on all three of them, we are seeing an assault that is unprecedented in the history of our country. You know, the Democrats and the media don't want to talk about the fact that today Senate Democrats stood virtually united in support of late-term abortion. They don't want to talk about these horrifying Planned Parenthood videos that show them selling the body parts of unborn children. They don't want to talk about the assault on marriage that Pope Francis has stood up against, and they certainly don't address the continued assault on religious liberty. You know, in Egypt, when we saw 22 Coptic Christians beheaded by ISIS, and the Obama White House described it as they're being killed because of their Egyptian citizenship, Pope Francis powerfully spoke out. He said their blood confesses Jesus Christ. I'm very glad to welcome Pope Francis to America. I'm very glad he's with us.
And some are suggesting, well, these Republicans are going to have to avoid photo ops with the Pope because they don't want the distinction drawn. And yet nobody talked about, the point you made about Christians and whether the United States and this administration has done enough to protect them, which has been an ongoing narrative in some media outlets. Or, for example, forget the abortion thing, which we'll talk about in a minute. But what about Little Sisters of the Poor, which the Obama administration has successfully sued to make them give the okay in writing such that their employees can get contraception, which Pope Francis may not love.
Well, Megan, you're exactly right. And as you know, I have pledged if I'm elected president on the first day in office, I will instruct the Department of Justice to open an investigation into Planned Parenthood and these horrific videos. And on the first day in office, I will instruct every federal agency that the persecution of religious liberty ends that day, and that will mean, among other things, that the case against the Little Sisters of the Poor will be dismissed. I mean, this is an administration, the Obama administration, that is litigating against a Catholic charity, the Little Sisters, attempting to force the nuns to pay millions of dollars of fines under Obamacare in order to try to force them to pay for abortion-inducing drugs. It makes no sense. It's radical and extreme. And I'm curious if the mainstream media will ask Democrats how they feel about litigating against nuns while the Holy Father is here in America.
I'm sure he's on the other side. This is what you're up against, though, as a Republican running for the White House. The media chooses to focus on the divide between the Republican Party and this Pope when it comes to issues like immigration or climate change, income inequality. Okay, those may be legitimate splits. But where is the focus on the fact that he's going to go address a joint session of Congress that just today refused to sign off on a ban of 20-week abortions of a 5-month-old baby in the womb? That they stood up and said, we don't want to ban that. Even if there's an exception for the life of the mother, we're still not going to get behind that. That is not highlighted, and yet this same media, I'm going to give you the floor, but the same media, New York Times, look at the headline they put out about Nancy Pelosi on September 21st. Look at this. In Pelosi, strong Catholic faith and abortion rights coexist. That's fine. You can coexist if it's pro-choice, but if you want to coexist when it comes to any income inequality or immigration, you need to avoid your photo ops with the Pope.
Well, the media, as I said, are partisans, and they're trying to distract the public. They're trying to lie to the public. But there is power to truth. One of the reasons I think that our presidential campaign has such tremendous momentum is because speaking the truth and speaking it with a smile has power. Megan, coming out of that first debate that you moderated, in the 100 hours that followed that debate, our campaign raised over $1 million in 100 hours as people all over the country went to tedcruz.org, contributed. The second debate that just ended, we raised over $1 million, not in 100 hours, in 48 hours, less than half as much time.
How does that compare to your compadres running for the office?
Well, none of them have announced their results, so that suggests they didn't do all that well. What I can tell you is in the campaign so far, out of 17 Republican candidates, our campaign has raised the most money. We've had some 300,000 contributions. The average contribution is $81. People go to tedcruz.org.
81. Interesting.
And they're looking for someone to tell the truth, to stand up. Well, we try to speak with precision.
Is it like a $1 fee for making you go through the processing or something? Senator Cruz, it's always great to see you.
It's great to be with you, Megan. Thank you.